My cat Freddie loves to be brushed and cuddled. But stirring up his cat allergens meant sneezing and itchy eyes. Then I found Purina One Live Clear. It's cat food that reduced the major allergen and my suffering in as little as 21 days. Now, we feel closer than ever. If you have issues with cat allergens, you really need to try Purina One Live Clear.
Try new Purina One Live Clear today. Purina One, a difference from day one.
The Rush Hour with James Golden on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
We are at the midway point in the week, my friends. Welcome to the Wednesday edition of Bo Snerdley's Rush Hour. If you, have been hungry for news, this is the place to get it. And some of that news, my friends, today is somewhat amusing. Other aspects of the news are simply tragic. And tragic, I asked Carlos if he would mind just checking to see what we had in the library for a musician, a songwriter, an artist that I absolutely love. I've interviewed him twice over the course of his career. I interviewed him when he was at his 25th year in the music business, and I interviewed him again last year. That artist being William Robinson Jr., Smokey Robinson, who is in the news yesterday. There are other things in the news, some of which make me laugh. Others, like there's a story, let me find it. Oh, the story that made me laugh last night. I'm sorry. And I shouldn't laugh. But the first thing I did, it was involuntary. An involuntary laugh emitted when I read the headline last night from the New York Times. Trump administration plans to send migrants to Libya on military. See, you're looking strange, Carlos. I guess you didn't hear this story. That's why you have to come here, folks. Because I will tell you the stories that you missed, that they just don't think worthy enough on the MSM to spend a lot of time with. Human rights groups have called conditions in the country's network of migrant detention centers horrific and deplorable. Yes, again, last night the news broke that the Trump administration is planning to send migrants to Libya on a military flight. The Trump administration planning to transport a group of immigrants to Libya on a U.S. military plane, according to U.S. officials. Another sharp escalation in a deportation program that has sparked widespread legal challenges and intense political debate. The nationalities of the migrants that are going to be sent over to Libya are not clear. But the deportees could be leaving as soon as today. For all we know, they are already in the air with a destination of Libya. The decision to send deportees to Libya was striking. The country is racked with conflict, and human rights groups have called conditions in its network of migrant detention centers horrific and deplorable. The Libyan operation falls in line with the Trump administration's effort to not only deter migrants from trying to enter the country illegally, but to send a strong message to those in the country illegally that they can be deported to countries where they can face brutal conditions. Reuters earlier reported the possibility of a U.S. deportation flight to Libya. The planning for the flight to Libya has been tightly held and could still be derailed by logistical, legal or diplomatic obstacles. And it goes on from there. So, what have we heard so far? Rwanda, Libya, of course, our beautiful allies in El Salvador have agreed to help. I thought there was an Asian country that was interested in coming on board, too. Another headline that brought smiles, although if I'm going to be 100% honest, and I am with you, I don't agree with this move, but it doesn't matter. It still brought smiles to my face. Voice of America will carry One America News programming. Voice of America will carry programming from the right-wing TV network One America News, according to a post on X from Carrie Lake. Lake, a senior advisor to the U.S. Agency for Global Media, the government body that oversees Voice of America, announced that the agency agreed to provide news feed services to Voice of America, as well as to the Office of Cuba Broadcasting and Radio Marte, which distributes news into communist Cuba. Now, Ms. Lake says that her role as senior advisor doesn't give her editorial control, but she can ensure that their outlets have reliable and credible options as they work to craft their reporting and news programs. Charles Herring, the president of OAN, confirmed to the Washington Post that the programming they're sending up is free of charge to the Voice of America. Lake's announcement was met with outrage from Voice of America staffers. Please, Voice of America staffers, raise your hands and all identify yourselves with your outrage. Please do that. VOA is not to be the voice of the left America nor the voice of right America, said Steve Herman, the chief national correspondent for VOA. USAMGM cannot dictate that VOA run AON content. It would be a violation of our firewall and our charter, which are laws. He's not the only one. There are a few others. We'll see how this all plays out. Yeah. It's going to go to court. Oh, yeah. We have that. Oh, we're going to get to a lot of sound bites. In fact, my friends, I have a new story here. This one didn't bring smiles, but just how deep this problem is. Oh, you know another problem I want to talk about today, too? Newark. What's happening at Newark Airport, Newark. Now, supposedly there are no delays today. I've been seeing this stuff about Newark Airport. Chuck Schumer all upset about Newark Airport. And I've just been like, yeah. Delays at Newark Airport. What else is new? And then I saw the sound bites from our transportation secretary, who actually knows what he's doing, Sean Duffy. And he's talking, we have those. And he was talking about that. And then I looked into what has happened at Newark Airport, and I was astounded. It wasn't just another ho-hummer. And this all goes back to what was Pete Buttigieg doing his entire time as transportation secretary, but we'll get into all of that. No. The other I was talking about was this operation that Pam Bondi and Kash Patel both talked about, 10 and 11. Now, folks, this goes a few minutes. But this operation was kind of deep, and this was the announcement today from U.S. Attorney General Pam Bondi.
Already, today we are proud to announce the results of the FBI's Operation Restore Justice Initiative. This historic, unprecedented nationwide operation led to the arrest of 205 child sex predators. Unbelievable. In just 5 days. This was an incredible operation done in conjunction with the FBI and our prosecutors.
205.
Children and their families now have a chance to heal. These are
205?
online predators. Think about this.
205.
115 victims, children. In 5 days, we were able to help. This kind of work takes a toll on the FBI agents and the prosecutors who are doing this every single day. They are working tirelessly online, dealing with the dregs of our society, the worst of the worst, the people that hide behind a computer and target our young children every single day.
Now
Our
she
law
goes on
enforcement,
from
our
there.
prosecutors-
We can just 205 arrests of child predators in 5 days. They've rounded them up. Cash Patel came on after Pam Bondi. Very quickly, this is what Cash had to say.
Our children. If you harm our children, you will be given no sanctuary. There is no place we will not come to hunt you down. There is no place we will not look for you. And there is no cage we will not put you in should you do harm to our children. The prioritization of this administration and General Bondi has made it abundantly clear to child predators, you will be hunted down and you will be prosecuted. And that is a refreshing thing to hear for the men and women who do this work tirelessly. And it's also an acknowledgement of the safety that we look forward to bringing America.
205 in 5 days. There are a lot of pervs out here. 300,000 missing children. Robert Kennedy Jr. last week talked about this. Said the government, Joe Biden's administration, was complicit in child trafficking. Human trafficking, children. I say, James Golden, Snerdley, 1977. The Eagles go to number one on the United States of America singles charts. With this one, it was their fourth number one hit here. It won, they also won the 1977 Grammy Awards for Records of the Year with this. They won it the following year, 1978, but the Eagles, one of their most famous, and they have a lot of famous hits. So this may be, I don't know. This is definitely one of them. Hotel California, James Golden, Snerdley. Whatever you do, keep it right here. Do not go away.
The Rush Hour with James Golden on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
ChatGPT Plus is free for college students through May. Here's the thing. You've got a lot to do between now and then. Studying for finals, writing papers, trying to keep your life on track, and ChatGPT can help with all of it. It can quiz you for your econ exam, make a study guide from your French notes, plan out your meals and study breaks. It can get really specific on how you like to learn. It can even help you come up with ways to stop procrastinating. So from now until summer break, take advantage of all the ways ChatGPT can make your life easier. Restrictions apply.
This episode is brought to you by GM Genuine Parts and AC Delco. Get the most out of your vehicle with GM Genuine Parts and AC Delco original equipment. The only parts designed, engineered, tested, and backed by General Motors. You can find your perfect fit for most makes and models and choose from 3 tiers of parts, including GM OE or gold and silver aftermarket parts. Visit gmparts.com for more information.
We off? 30 seconds of carefree bliss.
Oof, like wind in your hair carefree.
Oh, like using Clorox Disinfecting All-Purpose Cleaner in the home carefree.
Yes!
Like dog slobbing on the coffee table and cleaning it with Clorox Carefree.
He's on a roll now.
Spit toothpaste on the faucet.
You got it. You got it.
Peanut butter on the light switch.
Oh, spritz, spritz.
Spritz, spritz. Clorox, man. Clean feels good.
Okay, we're back.
Use as directed.
This episode is brought to you by Netflix. 3 couples, 4 vacations, a lot to unpack. Watch The Four Seasons, a new series starring comedy favorites Tina Fey, Steve Carell, Will Forte, Coleman Domingo, and more in a hilarious and heartfelt love letter to long-term relationships. Based on the original Alan Alda film. Watch The Four Seasons, streaming now only on Netflix.
The Rush Hour with James Golden. Entertaining and informative on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
Yourself, they don't make the money off other countries like this. And we had a trade imbalance, we had a deficit, or they had a surplus, another way of saying it, of more than $1 trillion. Think of it, more than $1 trillion. And because of 145%, that's the only reason, but because they have now 145% tariff, there's no trading. You can't trade with 145%. We are, therefore, making, in a certain way, I guess, $1.1 trillion. In other words, we're not losing $1.1 trillion. Our deficit.
Yeah, that's what's hip. Donald Trump talking about China. By the way, he's teasing a major announcement that's supposed to either happen tomorrow, Friday, or on Monday before he's off on a new trip. Birthday today, heavenly birthday. American trumpet player, brass player, Mick Gillette. Mick Gillette, just an amazing, amazing player with Tower of Power. Passed away of a heart attack in 2016. Mick Gillette. That's him. Oh, yeah, Tower of Power. James Golden is Snerdley. Okay, we promised you, I did, yes I did, to talk about this thing at Newark Airport. So the story, I have two stories, one from NBC, the other from CNN. Their stories abound. I just picked two that I started reading. The CNN story begins this way. Air traffic controllers in Philadelphia were guiding planes to Newark Liberty International Airport in New Jersey last week when communications suddenly crashed. Dead air. Think of dead air. Approach, are you there? One pilot asked the controller. The controller stopped responding. United Airlines Flight 1951s from New Orleans to the Newark hub tried to radio the controller 5 times before finally getting a response. United 1951, how do you hear me? The controller asked, according to air traffic control conversations recorded by the website liveatc.net. I got you loud and clear for at least 90 seconds. For at least 90 seconds, a minute and a half, controllers lost the ability to see planes on radar and to communicate with the pilots. Nothing for 90 seconds in one of the busiest airspaces in the world. Newark International, the April 28th outage impacted information coming from radars located at a FAA facility in Westbury, New York, where air traffic controllers used to manage flights heading to Newark. Control over the airspace was transferred to Philadelphia in July. The radars are now operated using a remote line the source described as a long extension cord. The outage was the result of a failure of copper wiring that transmits information to Newark. Similar outages have happened twice before. One of the busiest airspaces in the country, air traffic control can't see, can't talk to any of the planes. There's more. And believe me, I'm going to get to it. James Golden on the fastest hour in media. Don't go away.
The Rush Hour with James Golden on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
Ladies, you'll end up shopping for your guy's deodorant, right? So try Degree's Original Cool Rush. You see, last year, Degree changed the formula, and men were mad. One guy even started a petition. So Degree admitted they messed up and brought the Original Cool Rush scent back. It's clean, crisp, and actually smells like someone you want to cuddle. And it's in Walmart, Target, and other stores now for under $4. So toss one in your cart and find out why it's the best-selling men's antiperspirant for the last decade. Degree Cool Rush is back, and it smells like victory.
The #1 selling product of its kind with over 20 years of research and innovation. Botox Cosmetic, onabotulinum toxin A, is a prescription medicine used to temporarily make moderate to severe frown lines, crow's feet, and forehead lines look better in adults.
Effects of Botox Cosmetic may spread hours to weeks after injection, causing serious symptoms. Alert your doctor right away as difficulty swallowing, speaking, breathing, eye problems, or muscle weakness may be a sign of a life-threatening condition. Patients with these conditions before injection are at highest risk. Don't receive Botox Cosmetic if you have a skin infection. Side effects may include allergic reactions, injection site pain, headache, eyebrow and eyelid drooping, and eyelid swelling. Allergic reactions can include rash, welts, asthma symptoms, and dizziness. Tell your doctor about medical history, muscle or nerve conditions including ALS or Lou Gehrig's disease, myasthenia gravis, or Lambert-Eaton syndrome, and medications, including botulinum toxins, as these may increase the risk of serious side effects. For full safety information, visit BotoxCosmetic.com or call 877-351-0300.
See for yourself at BotoxCosmetic.com.
You guys, I just found the most incredible Mother's Day gift. It's called Goldbelly. Goldbelly is this amazing site where you can get the most iconic foods from restaurants all across the U.S., shipped anywhere in the country for free in time for Mother's Day. We're talking cakes from Ina Garten and Martha Stewart, Magnolia Bakery's famous banana pudding, and New York bagel brunches. Make Mother's Day perfect with Goldbelly.com and get 20% off your first order with promo code MOM. That's Goldbelly.com, promo code MOM.
Home means something different to everyone. But with Rocket Mortgage, home can mean even more. It can mean a college education, taming your high-interest debt, even a renovation. We've made it easier than ever to use your home equity. That home you worked so hard for, now it can work hard for you. Call 800-4ROCKET or visit rocket.com to find out more.
Rocket Mortgage, LLC, licensed in all 50 states, and MLSConsumerAccess.org, number 3030.
The Rush Hour with James Golden. Entertaining and informative on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
The Daily Mail has an exclusive today. Smokey Robinson responds to sexual assault allegations with blistering 3-word response. Iconic singer Smokey Robinson raged, I am appalled, when asked by the Daily Mail about claims that he sexually abused multiple housekeepers. The Motown legend, 85, then began mumbling incoherently after being contacted by phone Wednesday morning. He did not sound well. But Robinson became lucid again a few seconds later, ending the call by saying, I can't speak about this right now. Robinson was hit by a civil lawsuit Wednesday containing a slew of lurid claims against him and his wife. The wife supposedly yelled at the housekeepers and did other things and left him alone on purpose with them so he could... I'm not going to get into all the graphic nature of these allegations. I love Smokey Robinson. I hope none of this is true. I will just note for the record that I am appalled is not the same thing as saying I didn't do it, I'm not guilty. It says I am appalled. I'm appalled. I am appalled. I am appalled that this is in the news.
I'm appalled that there's snitches.
I'm appalled they have accused me of this publicly. I'm appalled my image has been ruined, and I'm 85 years old. I'm out on tour. He's, by the way, out on tour. He was in New York 50th anniversary of the Quiet Storm album. He's touring around that as a theme. But again, I am appalled. It isn't quite the same as I'm not guilty. Not the same as I didn't do it. Not the same as are you blanking kidding? Not the same as it never happened. Not the same as they're making it up. I love you, Smokey. I hope none of this is true. Why, the 50 million, somebody better care about what they're saying. 50 million? I mean, damn. That's a lot of... They say that one of the women said that she left evidence on her face multiple times. I'm not going to get into the... I can't. It's Smokey. I can't do it. All right, so before the break, we're talking about the Newark airport, right? So air controllers lose contact out of Philadelphia going into Newark traffic for a minute and a half. Sean Duffy said it was 30 seconds, Transportation Secretary. But regardless, there were at least 15 to 20 planes actively that they lost touch with, apparently, for between a minute and a half. It affected the air controllers so difficult. This is what it says in the story. No crashes occurred, but at least 5 FAA employees took 45 days of trauma leave afterwards. There's a thing in their contract where if they undergo traumatic experiences, they can take off time, go see a shrink, go get their heads back. Now, that may sound odd to us, but you think about it. These people work under incredible stress. We already know that. But then to be out of contact with planes, everything goes dark for a minute and a half. I'm telling you, that has got to be traumatizing for these people. Unbelievably traumatizing. 45 days, you can quibble with it, but that's what the union got. But it is a traumatizing event. Now, again, one of the reasons this happened is they're dealing with the system. Let me put it to you like this. If you have Comcast or you have AT&T or you have some of the other streaming companies, and they have come to you with an offer and wired your house for streaming and said, okay, why don't you wire up, get digital? And most of you in this vast and ever-growing listening audience have a far better connection to get your streaming media than apparently air controllers do, keeping track of America's incredibly dense air traffic. They're using copper wires. You probably at home are probably on fiber optic cable. You think about that. The government is still using copper wire, which is technology from not only the last century, the early part of the last century. Here is Jake Tapper. Cut 1 and then cut 2, please. Jake Tapper was interviewing Transportation Sean Duffy on these delays.
This is an infrastructure problem, right? And we've known this infrastructure problem has existed for a very long time. The last administration knew it. No one has done anything. So for Newark specifically, we're going to rebuild the communication system at Newark. I thought it was going to be 8 months, 6 months. We're pushing to do it faster. Hopefully this summer we get that done. But the key is always safety, right? I don't want people to fly. I'd rather have them delayed or canceled. I'd rather have it take 6 months than 2.5 months to build out that communication system, because I want people to get from point A to point B safely. And again, if they have to wait for a flight, I'll prefer that than something else going wrong with their flight.
Yeah, look, I'm not saying that what's going on right now is a problem created in the last 106 days. Obviously,
yeah, of course.
Yeah, but and Tapper would say, okay, we know you guys didn't create this problem, which brings us to the second cut. But I just want you to think about that, because what they have done, folks, the reason that Newark got so backed up, they cut the number of flights. Then you had this loss of air traffic controllers. They said up to 20% of them after this incident. The union says they didn't walk off the job, but also the administration, it seems to be saying, a United Airlines CEO, Scott Kirby, says that the controllers, FAA controllers, walked off the job. They didn't walk off the job. They were traumatized. Their equipment failed. And that's why they were off. It was a union thing. They needed, it was whatever. Sean Duffy had more to say about this. Let's check in, and interesting. Pay attention.
Everyone's shocked that the system is so old and antiquated, but it wasn't shocking to Joe Biden, and it wasn't shocking to Pete Buttigieg. They knew we had an old system. They saw the GAO report saying it was about to fail. And so the largest infrastructure package, Martha, ever known to man in the history of the world, the infrastructure bill under Joe Biden, $1.2 trillion. They sent only $5 billion to fix air traffic control. And of the $5 billion, Pete Buttigieg spent less than $1 billion to fix this problem. Instead, he was focused on racist roads and changing the name of cockpit to flight deck or airman to aeronaut. Stupid stuff. And so now, as the Trump administration has come in, it was shortly after DCA, Martha, I started digging into the FAA and realized it wasn't just one small part of the infrastructure. It was the whole infrastructure that had to be built brand new. And so I've developed a plan. I've talked to the president. He's signed off on the plan. We now have to go to Congress and say, listen, Congress, this is imperative. This is really critical infrastructure. Let's get the money to build this brand new. It's going to take time. It's going to take, 3 or 4 years to build it.
I had forgotten all of these changes that Pete Buttigieg was. Yes, we're not allowed to use the term cockpit. What could possibly? Why do you think they changed that term, Carlos? Cockpit. What? TJ, you have any idea? Why was the term to flight deck?
I have no idea.
No idea. None of us have any idea what's so bad about the term cockpit. I don't know. Anyway, that was changed, and he focused on racist roads that and he did all the stuff that Transportation Secretary Duffy said that Pete Buttigieg was focused on. He was focused on, and apparently not focused on the failing infrastructure. They had a warning was going to fail on the air controller side of life in the United States of America. It's pretty freaking disgusting. Okay, let's quickly switch gears and deal with Scott Bessent. Scott Bessent. I don't know whether we're going to get to all of these. Let's start with number 3. Steny Hoyer jumps in. Hearings. These are hearings today. Scott Bessent took it like a champ. Steny Hoyer.
Let me ask you a broader question, Mr.
Treasury Secretary.
The president has been talking about recession and
recession.
The acceptance of a recession in the short term. Do you believe we're in a recession now?
Do you believe we're in a recession?
Congressman, I believe in data, and there is nothing in the data that shows that we are in a recession. As a matter of fact, the jobs report has surprised to the upside.
The job report, of course, less than the average for the Biden administration last 2024.
All right, enough of that. We got to just, do you think you're in a recession? Do you think we're in a recession? No, we're not in a recession. All right, let's jump to 5 and get Representative Velasquez, who just insists. I don't think this woman really understands answers. She's from New York Congresswoman. She may not master. Anyway, you'll hear it yourself.
Specifically, which countries are you close to striking deals with?
I'm sorry, Congresswoman, but that would not benefit the United States.
No. I'm asking you a question based on the statement that you made on CNBC.
And I am telling you that it would be detrimental to the interest of the United States for me to answer that question.
Why will that be detrimental?
Because the negotiations may still be in process as we speak, as we are not at the end of the week yet. I am sure that you, through your question, would not want to compromise the U.S. negotiations.
Reclaiming my time.
Would you?
Secretary Besson.
Reclaiming my time.
The president goes into a press conference and claims that there are negotiations going on. And then the next day, there's no negotiations going on. So why would you not answer my question? And that would be considered detrimental to the American people, to the American economy. I do not understand. Despite your claim...
I'm happy to say there are negotiations going on. I'm not going to reveal the details.
Okay, enough of that. You get the gist. Let's move on. Auntie Maxie, cut 7. Auntie Maxie.
Mr. Secretary, did all the individuals working with Doge who were given access to treasuries and CFPB's computer databases receive all of the required clearances and security training before they were granted access?
Again, they were granted read-only access at Treasury. There were two.
So let me just say,
Doge employees.
Please, you can't filibuster here. This is not the filibuster playground. And so what you did was you let these strangers into our treasury with access to all of the data, all of the personnel information, and you just opened the door. Why'd you do that?
No, ma'am. They were Treasury employees.
Oh, are you saying today in front of this committee that all of them were Treasury employees, that the 25-year-old who's being identified, who worked for Elon Musk, was allowed into the Treasury? Was that person there?
He was a Treasury employee, as was Tom Krause, the senior person on the Doge team.
Difficult
there
for
were
grasp.
Only 2 people.
There were Doge employees also.
Sorry?
Do you know, were you aware that there were Doge employees coming into our treasury, getting all of our
coming into
our
treasury? Ma'am, there is no such thing as a Doge employee. There were Treasury employees.
I tend to disagree with you based on the information I had. Has any information
Okay, enough of that. That's he's the head of the Treasury. He knows who's Okay. Oh, quickly, 14, because Velasquez says we're not working on anything. There are no negotiations. And 14, very quickly.
India, as an example, is one of the highest tariffs in the world. We're not going to put up with that. And they've agreed already to drop it. They'll drop it to nothing. They've already agreed. They would have never done that for anybody else but me. So we're going to put down some numbers, and we're going to say our country is open for business. And they're going to come in, and they're going to pay.
All right, really quickly, cut 15, then right to the break. Cut 15, Trump again.
Can you tell us a bit more about the deal that you've reached with the Houthis that you mentioned?
No, it's not a deal. They've said, please don't bomb us anymore, and we're not going to attack your ships.
And where did you hear about that?
It doesn't matter where I hear it. The very good source, I could tell you. Very, very good source. Would you say, Marco? I would say pretty good, right, JD? A very good source.
Mamas and papas started 3 weeks at number 1 with this one back in 1966 on this day. Monday. The group was reported as saying they all hated the song except for John Phillips, who wrote it. But it went big for him. James Golden Snerdley coming back. Don't you go away.
The Rush Hour with James Golden on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
Jif peanut butter. It's that jiffing good, it doesn't really need advertising. So instead, enjoy the calming sounds of the ocean. Jif. Ooh, it's that jiffing good. Get your Jif at jif.com.
Faraday presenta Ojos con Alergia y Picazón contra el jardinero. Y el ganador es Faraday Extra Fuerte. Para aliviar la picazón de los ojos por alergia, actúa más rápido y supera a Claritin y Flonase aún a las 24 horas. Faraday, adelante.
This episode is brought to you by Factor.
Optimize your nutrition this year with Factor, America's #1 ready-to-eat meal service. Factor's fresh, never frozen meals are dietitian approved, ready to eat in just 2 minutes. Choose from 40 weekly options across 8 dietary preferences like Calorie Smart, Protein Plus, and Keto. Eat smarter at factormeals.com/listen50 and use code listen50 for 50% off plus free shipping on your first box. Factormeals.com/listen50. Code listen50. Terms and conditions apply.
I'm Cindy Lauper with fellow Cosentix advocate, Chef Michelle Bernstein.
We'll share our experiences with plaque psoriasis, with psoriatic arthritis, and Dr. Panico will talk about the possible connection.
Cosentix secukinumab is prescribed for adults with moderate to severe plaque psoriasis 300 milligram dose and adults with active psoriatic arthritis 150 milligram dose. Don't use if you're allergic to Cosentix. Before starting, get checked for tuberculosis. An increased risk of infections and lowered ability to fight them may occur, like tuberculosis or other serious bacterial, fungal, or viral infections. Some are fatal. Tell your doctor if you have an infection or symptoms like fevers, sweats, chills, muscle aches, or cough, had a vaccine or plan to, or if inflammatory bowel disease symptoms develop or worsen. Serious allergic reactions and severe eczema-like skin reactions may occur.
Learn more at 1-844-COSENTIX or Cosentix.com/Cindy.
The Rush Hour with James Golden on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
The year was 2016. Following his unexpected death, Prince held the top 2 spots on the Billboard album charts. The Very Best of Prince was at number 1, and this iconic album from Prince, Purple Rain, was at number 2. Most of his music was not available on streaming services at the time, so physical albums were the only way, in many cases, to buy Prince's music, and it sold big. Okay, thank you so much. We've got so much that we did not get to, so there's, of course, tomorrow, God willing, we're here, and we'll get to some of that. There's been one that I've been waiting to play. I'm looking at the clock to see whether I have time to do it. I don't. It's a guy in Hawaii from California talking about gas prices being lower in Hawaii than in California. The reason, Democrat taxation. We'll get to that. GOP senators are fearful, my friends. Fearful? Fear. Marjorie Taylor Greene could cost them the Georgia Senate race. MTG is talking about running for senator against John Ossoff. That's a vulnerable seat, supposedly. But Republicans are frightened to death that if she has a good chance to win the primary, but they think she would get crushed in the general election, just like Herschel Walker. I wonder what you think about that. Also, Democrats have Andy Beshear making noises he wants to run for president. You know him, the kind, compassionate governor of Kentucky who suggested that maybe a member of J.D. Vance's family ought to be raped. Well, that's it for the day. I told you it's the fastest hour in American media. May God bless, protect each and every single one of you, your families, your loved ones. Love and gratitude for your being here with me, my friends, and for allowing me to be with you. God willing, we are back tomorrow for the Thursday edition of Bo Snerdley's Rush Hour. Until then, my friends, I bid you adieu. Bye.
Thanks for listening to Bo Snerdley's Rush Hour. You can hear Bo Snerdley's Rush Hour weekdays at 4 on 77 WABC. If you like the podcast, share it with your friends and listen anytime at WABCRadio.com and download the WABC Radio app. Hit that subscribe button on all major podcast platforms. Plus, follow WABC on social on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and X. See you next time for a new episode so you never have to wonder,
what the heck is going on here?